he owns quite a lot of land around here as well.
He's a landowner.
Yeah, he you know the big house just over behind there. Yeah. Here's Stan. Back at last. How long ago was Court Hill functioning till, Johnny?
Pardon?
When did Court Hill finally get pulled down?
After the war. Sometime after the war, yeah.
Yeah, we've been down looking at it down there and just wondering what happened to it. I don't really know the story.
It was after 1947 and before 1954. Between that, about 48, 50, yeah.
A lot of land.
Yeah.
Oh, super.
That's really nice.
Good gardens and everything there.
Yeah.
Just have. It's the opposite. Jenny's down on the garden there now, which we're going to eventually try and market. Yeah, see it, Johnny.
A lot of this land then is owned by estates.
Yeah. The bit over back behind the camp and all the way out to the point, that was owned by Wills, as in Wills Tobacco Company, which you've probably heard of. And a lot of that was sold to Kishorn there to get the camp. But yeah, it's very difficult for someone like myself to try and get any, I know that much. You've got to go through his solicitors if you want to buy anything, and the hassle involved there is, well, it's incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd like to get land?
Yeah, but you can't. The houses that are for sale here go for vast sums of money, and you find that people down south will come up and buy them for holiday homes. You're talking about sort of 25,000 for just a 2-bedroom, 2 up, 2 down thing. So the only way I'm going to get anywhere is to buy a piece of land and build one. But then you get the hassles getting your land, then you've got to get planning permission because it's such a scenic area, so you go around in a big circle.
This whole business of land throughout Scotland is a problem though, isn't it? A lot of it is owned by very few.
That's right, there's a lot of Dutch landowners coming in now on Skye, a guy called Hellinger. The Dutchman, he's bought up a lot of it. And your pop stars are getting in now as well. It's, well, further south is Paul McCartney, ex-Beatles, of course. He's done on the Mull Kintyre. He's got a lot of land down there. And Jethro Tull, have you heard of him or not?
Yeah.
Ian Anderson, he owns a large part of Skye as well, but he started a trout farm. Yeah. He's in trout farm in Lochgarron.
Yeah.
Down behind the Weavers, yeah.
But do the large estates still exist?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't like to say how many acres, but it's hundreds and hundreds. And people pay land rent still. All the people down in Akintrad, you find that 90% of them don't own their land. They pay rent to the landlord. Although if you rent a croft, you are open to buy it, but you've got to produce drawings of the land you want. And then it goes to land court, and it can take up to 18 months, 2 years before you get anywhere, so I think most of them just forget.
Why would you want to get land down here now?
Well, because if you're renting it, there's always a chance that the person you're renting it from will sell it to someone who you don't get on with. As I say, there's a lot going to Dutch people coming in, more than anything. So they don't know who the landlord's going to be, so they're buying it just to make sure. There's 3 or 4 of them getting together down there now to buy land.
But you're not from the area.
Me, I'm not from the area, I'm from Bristol, a long way down south. But came up to work at Kishorn and liked it so much I don't want to go away. I've got a sailing cruiser up here now, so just look across the water there and you've got the world's open to you. It's beautiful.
What was it like at Kishorn?
There's a problem. In what aspect?
Well, working on the site. Was it a good place to work?
It's long hours, hard work, very dangerous, but you get the money at the end of it. I was on the rig. We were getting the 5:30 boat in the morning and getting back about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So it was long, hard days. There was a danger aspect to it. You're working at 400 or 500 feet up. It's just on scaffold. And, well, the worst thing is working down below. You've got the people above you, and they tend to forget that people are down the bottom. And even shovelfuls of concrete coming down that amount of distance. If they hit you on the head, you know about it. But I think they're very lucky with a safety record out there, really. No, it's so nice up here, but you need more money up here than you do down south. Everything has to be imported. Vegetables especially are very expensive. If you go down the road there, Jenny has got a good piece of land down there which we've managed to rent. And we're desperately trying to get that ready for this year to try and get some vegetables in, start growing. Eventually maybe set up a small market garden in the area just to supply local shops. The Cayley little restaurant in Lochcarron, did you see it? They said they'll take anything we can get, the same with the local shops across there. And Strathcarron, the hotel there. But it's just getting things off the ground. And it's only rented land again. If you want to buy it, it's different. And it's not the same. You put all this work into a piece of rented land, you never know what's going to happen. Shame.
Would you go back and work at the Kishorn site?
I will be going back there. Yeah. I learned my lesson last time. All the money I got just went crackers. Spent it all. Bought a lot of things I didn't really need. But this time it'll be in the bank with it.
You were saying something about Kishorn.
That it's away. Definitely they've got the 10-week contract starting from tomorrow.
That's 10 weeks.
That's the 10-week one, yeah. But that's official. But it's a sprat to catch a mackerel, as they say. That they're hoping that one thing will lead to another.
This is the thing that strikes me, though, is this whole kind of thing it's been built up so far, and then people hope for something more. It's this kind of hoping and hoping and hoping that...
Yeah, but what else can you do up here? I mean, the local trades is such a non-existent. When you go down into the village there, you'll find that most of the people will be out on the beach collecting winkles, bucketfuls of them, and then somebody comes around every 3 weeks and collects them. So anything. It's...
Why was there so much kind of anti-feeling at the beginning?
People weren't knowing what to expect.
There seemed to be, from media reports and so on, a lot of opposition at the beginning. And I'm just wondering, why would that be, since it seems different now?
Basically because people didn't know what they were going to expect, and it's... I wouldn't say it's exactly a backward community as such, but they live a very sheltered life, and all of a sudden you get 3,000 people, which is so much bigger than the population at the time. They'd be a bit frightened, I suppose, of what would happen. People would envisage drunken fights all over the place. Admittedly, there were a few to begin with, but things sorted themselves out. You get a few bears, meaning some of the workers up on site, the labourers, concrete labourers, they were called bears, and they thought some of the bears would come up and just beat the place up, something terrible, and out chasing the women and everything, but it didn't really happen in the end. The camp catered very well. They've got some big bars up on site, they've got a sports hall, they had a film after every shift, badminton, they've got full-size snooker tables out there, they've even got television, which in this part of the world you just can't get anyway, but they've got a special aerial set up right up on top of the Applecross Hills there, and about 4 or 5 miles of cable running all the way down so they could get television to keep everybody occupied. But as I was saying earlier, if you're working from 5 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, the last thing you want to do is go out on the town. You just want to collapse in your bed when you get back anyway. So some people manage to get drunk and have a good time and get up the next morning, but they're a danger to themselves as much as anybody else if you're in that sort of state when you get to work the next day.
You must have had some thoughts, though, yourself on the scale of a project this size, in an area like this, in communities this size.
Yeah, quite possibly, but it's the same in any development like this, that first of all there's objections to it, and grump, 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 and then you find that the people who are doing all the moaning, you find them up there working and quite enjoying getting involved with it. Howard Doris helped the community in a few ways, but possibly not enough. They held film shows down in the village for the children on Saturdays, and they donated money to various organisations and helped a few things get off the ground that way. I don't know.
Are there things that communities that face this kind of development could learn from what went on here, do you think? Are there changes that maybe they'll make the next time they start up?
None that I could specifically say, but obviously you always learn from your previous mistakes, so I think a lot can be learned from this project. Well, as you can see across the water there, the site against the vastness of the countryside, it doesn't really stand out like a sore thumb, like everybody thought it would do. It's obviously a big project, but the scale of everything just makes it so small.
What I find so interesting is that, you know, the incredible faith that Stan has, and I guess yourself in some respect, in working here and building up a gas station, a service station in an area that if this doesn't come off, what happens?
Then you have to find alternative work. Obviously I've come to the area, I like the area so much, I'm beginning to know the locals that I feel that I must find work to stay here if I do want to stay. Building work is at a premium really in the area. There are 2 local builders, can't take on any more work for the next 3 years. So possibly there's a side road in there. Produce, market gardening, if you want to get in there, you can supply local people. I'm doing a bit of surveying work. I'm doing designs for people's extensions on their houses, all of which they've had to go to Inverness to get before, and that's 60 miles away. And if somebody comes out from Inverness to provide a service over here, then that's 2 hours travelling, at which they're charging so much an hour, and 2 hours back, plus their mileage charges and things, that it's pointless. So if you can make an inroad somewhere.
Are you what's called a white settler?
Like it. I think the locals would refer to me as a white settler, but I don't think there's any nastiness meant in it at all. I get on very well with the locals, and because I am providing a service locally, they'll come and see me, knock on the door, and we'll come in and have a wee dram and be quite happy together.
That's kind of an interesting thing. There's a difference too between yourself coming in young and working and the sort of retired people, I guess, that come in and...
Yes, obviously the people retired, the white settlers that have retired in the area, they are upset by what's going on. They wanted a nice quiet life, and of course things have erupted up around them. The locals like it because of the work, and they like to see something happening. But there are a few that have settled and thought this would be a nice retirement area, nice and quiet, and it's not turned out for them that way.
Is the new development going to be as big, do you think, even if they get the new one, as the last?
Yes, they're going to have to take over more land. It will be on a different scale. It will be, the last rig was concrete, and this will be more steel orientated, and that means that the area to the east of the site, across to the small farm, that will all be taken over. And what is intended that they will be able to build the whole rig here, including the modules and the deck, whereas on a previous rig the modules and deck were built elsewhere and brought around to here for the final hookup. But they're hoping to do everything here, so it will be on a bigger scale, but I think the time factor will be a lot shorter now that the hole's been dug and the camp's here and everything's ready.
Will it mean as many men?
I don't think it will need as many men. It's going to need more skilled personnel. When I say that, skilled welders. Whereas before there was a lot of I can lift heavy things, just throwing the concrete in, get the reinforcing bar in.
So that's going to mean a lot more people coming in again.
Before, I think the turnover was about 3,000 out there. I don't think it's going to get up to that sort of scale, but obviously I'm not in on the plans yet. Things are just starting. They don't tell me anything. But I shall be back up there anyway, possibly on a freelance basis and try and put some money in the bank.
You didn't the last time?
No. I wouldn't say mad living, but things I've always wanted, with stereo setup and a motorbike and things that I've always wanted but were definitely luxuries, not necessities, whereas this time put some in a bank and try and sort some land up, maybe a house. We'll see.
Will the next thing be more stable, do you think?
No, I think we're going to eventually return to this situation again, whereas the 2 years work, and then we'll be back exactly where we started, with people not knowing whether they're going to get another order and hanging around in limbo thinking, well, maybe, maybe not. So I think try and get something sorted out for the future. With Stan building his garage here, maybe when the rig's gone, you'll have a